recording.
I was like, I don't know how to do it.
Hello. So glad you could join us today. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the celebration of the graduates of the GPP Global Poverty in Practice minor, class of 2022. So it's been 3 years since we've been able to have an in-person graduation ceremony, and we're excited to resume the tradition in the heart of the campus in front of our historic Campanile and under the nests of 2 mating falcons that you may see sometime during our ceremony. My name is Alice Agagino. I'm Education Director of the Blum Center for Developing Economies and also from the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering. I'm really pleased to join you here today representing the Blum Center. First, I want to take a moment to recognize the family and friends who are here today with the GPP graduates on their journey. Your financial and emotional support has made their journey possible for them. So I invite you graduates, please give a hearty cheer and appreciation for your loved ones who've joined us here today. You, the graduating class of 2022, represent the 15th graduating class of the GPP minor. And this year we have over 70 students from 30 different majors graduating, and now you are joining a community of over 1,000 alumni. I'd like to say a few words of what the graduate program is, the minor is all about for the guests here. It's a very rigorous program. All students in the minor take a series of courses focused on poverty and inequality. And they study all sides of the picture. They study the debates on approaches to address intractable problems. It's a rigorous preparation, and the initial coursework leads to completing a practice experience, working on a poverty action project. Then they complete a final course in which they reflect on the experience and consider the ways that they will carry forward with their commitment to poverty action after graduation. So this brings us today to the celebration of the hardworking students in the program, their commitment, their courage, their tenacity, and their compassion that they've applied to tackling issues of poverty and inequality in their studies. The students on the program have persevered, particularly this year, through demanding curriculum, but having to rearrange their practice experience to handle the pandemic and manage the disruptions of their courses over this course. So this is a special group of students. These GPP students inspire us all by bringing faculty and students together to champion social justice and overcoming challenges. They represent the best of UC Berkeley. And I think that deserves a cheer. So first, before we start the ceremony, I'd like to acknowledge members of the GPP community that make the whole degree program possible because of the brilliant work of our core faculty and our leadership. And is Shankar Sastry here? So I'd like to acknowledge Shankar Sastry. He's the faculty director of the Blum Center, former dean of the College of Engineering, and a professor of electrical engineering and computer sciences. Today is a special day to acknowledge Shankar. I want to acknowledge his service to the center as he's stepping down as faculty director this summer. Under Shankar's leadership, the Blum Center has grown the single UC Berkeley Blum Center on our campus to 10 Blum Centers on all UC campuses, the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, in partnership with the Lawrence Berkeley Lab. And I'm grateful to Shankar for many, many things. Raising funds, he's been terrific at it, starting new programs and grants. But in particular, Shankar, I'm grateful for working with me as a member of the Development Engineering faculty to expand our engineering program to create a PhD minor in Development Engineering and our brand new Master's in Development Engineering this year. And by the way, graduates of the 2022 class, you may want to consider going to graduate school and consider one of these programs. Next, I want to acknowledge our extraordinary GPP faculty. Khaled, are you here? Could you stand up? Dr. Khaled Kadir teaches in both engineering and global studies and is a recipient of many teaching awards, including the UC Berkeley Distinguished Teaching Award, our highest award on campus. So thank you, Khaled. Dr. Claire Tallwalker couldn't join us today, but she teaches qualitative methods, global poverty action, human rights, as well as South Asian and economic anthropology. Dr. Cecilia Lucas works at the intersection of education, ethnic studies, and performance science, a truly transdisciplinary instructor. And Dr. Chris Kohler taught our introductory global poverty course this year. He specializes in political sociology and transnational social movements. He's traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast to set up residence over here, so we'll see more of him in the future. And finally, I want to give a hearty thanks to the Blum Center staff for providing GPP and inviting home a rich infrastructure, expertise, and services. Through external funding, the Blum Center has been able to provide fellowships for the practice experience and has provided opportunities for innovation and social entrepreneurship through classes, mentoring, workshops, and the Big Ideas competition. So thank you for your leadership and support for all of the staff and leadership of the Blum Center. And last but not least, where's Chetan? I want to give a special shout out to the fabulous Chetan Chowdhury, Director of Student Programs and Advisor for the Global Poverty and Practice Minor. And we are also welcome for all the work of the GPP Minor peer advisors. They're essential to the program. These are students who, after completing the requirements of the minor, serve as mentors and advisors to their fellow GPP students. They hold advising hours, run information sessions, and coordinate events to support the students. And so I'd like the peer advisors that are here to stand up when you call your name. I used to say don't clap after I call your name, but you know, please do. Madison Lazar. Maddie Lipscomb. Austin Peng. Victoria Alsayin Peji. Emma Zako. And Diego Zavallos Valdezan. So today is a special day today as well, because we dedicate our ceremony to Richard C. Blum, founder of the Blum Center, who passed away earlier this year after a long and devoted life of public service in tackling poverty. The minor and the other programs in the Blum Center could not have existed without his support and brilliant intelligence and humor. So we've invited two distinguished guests to speak about Richard Blum's positive impact both locally and globally. First, I'm pleased to introduce our Vice Chancellor of Research, Dr. Kathy Yalek. She's a Robert S. Pepper Distinguished Professor of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science and Associate Dean for Research in the Division of Computing Science and Society. She's made extraordinary contributions to research in high-performance computing and parallel programming languages. She's won many, many awards, and it would take me all day to go through all of those awards. So I just recognize her as a member of the National Academy of Engineering and the National Academy of Arts and Sciences. And most important to us here today, as Vice Chancellor for Research, the Blum Center reports to her. So please welcome Vice Chancellor Kathy Yalek.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor today to celebrate the graduates of the Global Poverty and Practice Minor. I want to begin by acknowledging and thanking Alice for many contributions, both to UC Berkeley broadly and to the Blum Center's as the Blum Center's Education Director. Alice, you've been an inspiration to me personally and a steady force for good in the minor, always focused on social justice and impact in everything that you do. Today I want to warmly recognize the contributions of Richard Blum, who passed away earlier this year. Richard combined a fierce love for his alma mater, Cal, with an equally fierce passion for addressing poverty. The Blum Center's reputation as a leader in research and education on poverty and social impact honors his vision and dedication to helping others. As GPP graduates, you carry on his mission. This will not be easy. There are extreme challenges facing our world today. both the entrenched problems around inequality and justice and new threats to the health of our people and our world. I would like to ask you to be fearless, not just to respond to the challenges, but to reach for the vision of a future world in which you and future generations will want to live and thrive. Real social change takes perseverance, creativity, and time. You have already shown your perseverance through this COVID-19 pandemic, through the chaos of the California wildfires, and through countless local, national, and global crises. Bring your creativity, your expertise in social science, in cognitive science, in data science, in engineering, in the humanities, and in the physical or life sciences, and bring your deep understanding of global poverty for positive social impact. Now is your chance to make the most of your time, to dedicate your time and energy to accomplish a change that is important to you. You are here, a proud Cal graduate with your GPP minor, to take on the challenges facing our global communities around the world, and especially prepared for the work that you do at the heart of the GPP minor. Congratulations, GPP graduates. Your university is very proud of you, and we wish you and your families the very best. Go Bears!
So thank you, Vice Chancellor Yellick. You know, she's my boss's boss. Just keep that in mind. Now I'm truly honored to introduce Annette Blum, a Cal graduate and an activist and philanthropist with a focus on global citizenship. As a daughter of Richard Blum and stepdaughter of Senator Dianne Feinstein, she grew up immersed in foreign and political affairs and has gained deep familiarity with knowledge of global challenges. We appreciate all that she's done for the Blum Center and look forward to working with her in the future. She's kindly agreed to say a few words and also join us in the ceremony with diplomas. Please welcome Annette Blum.
Hi, everyone. I'm very honored to be here because, as Alice mentioned, I am a Berkeley graduate. I graduated in the 80s when things were, I have to say, way easier than they are now. My father, who was a true global citizen, spoke to us as children, myself and my sisters, about making a difference in the world. He was very, very passionate about the work of the Peace Corps, talked to us about it all the time, and dreamed about building a center that could do similar work that would be more effective in getting things done. He was all about getting things done and quickly. He had a lot of impatience in him, but he really wanted to strive to see the world as a better place. And one of his favorite times of year, from the time that the center was founded over 15 years ago, was to come and meet all of the graduates and mingle with them and find out where they were from and what they were doing and what their goals were and encourage them. So I'm really honored to be here in his place. To meet all of you. I've read through some of your bios, very impressive. And I'm going to second Alice's words about getting out and getting work done, being fearless, and really focusing on what we can do to restore some of the damage that's been done, but also just come up with new partnerships and new ideas moving forward post-COVID. So we're all on board about doing that, and I look forward to seeing what all of you do in the future, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. So I have the pleasure of introducing our first student speaker today, Abigail Lomibao. This month, as the rest of your classmates, Abigail's graduating with a degree in cognitive science and a GPP minor, following a long journey of academic as well as personal growth. And I have a confession, I looked back at your old assignments before I wrote this. So I came to know Abigail in the fall of 2021. It was our first semester back in person after being online for a year, where we shared a classroom together for GPP 196, the reflection course for the minor. That was a tumultuous semester. We were all learning how to share physical space again, trying to figure out what the rules were, how to talk to people between classes instead of just clicking leave meeting and being by ourselves. We suddenly, class is over and now there's someone next to me, what do I say? Even how to show up places on time. This campus is a lot bigger than we remembered. Over the course of that unusual semester, I came to understand that Abigail had a pretty unique and special trajectory through this program. For her practice experience, she worked with Minds Matter Los Angeles, a college access program to support high school students in making their way into college. In her time with Minds Matter, she assisted the core staff with a bunch of tasks, including interviewing prospective students, working on relationship with external partners, helping to build their vision and their branding. All of that is perhaps not so unusual, as many of you who are graduating today had similar practice experiences. What was different about Abigail's was that working with Minds Matter was not a process of reaching out into some totally uncertain new space to work with an organization that she knew very little about on a topic that she was academically interested in. Instead, her work with Minds Matter represented a return. It was Abigail's process of returning to contribute to a program that she herself had attended prior to entering UC Berkeley. I share this little anecdote because to me is one of the things that makes Abigail so special. She entered the minor with exceptional maturity and insight, and she turned her energy towards the community that had previously lifted her up and made it possible for her to be here. While this may not be the most innovative choice for a practice experience, and it may not be the most adventurous one, I believe it is a choice that embodies the spirit of our program. It is a choice to be in solidarity with one's community and to give back out of a recognition that we ourselves have been given to by others. And with that, I present to you Abigail.
Thank you very much, Holly, for the introduction. That was a very heartfelt introduction, and it might make it harder for me to make this speech right now. But while no words can capture the day that is today, today is our day. And as cliche as that sounds, I believe that making every day your day and making every day count is what it means to be in GPP and what it means to be a student. And so I'd like to begin by saying that our lives fly by in seasons. This spring, a letter about change, classic hope, and renewal. Addressed to those who dare to beat the odds, disturb the comfortable, and comfort the disturbed. To those who never forget where they came from. To you, GPP minor graduates, and our community. Thank you for teaching me your truth and your hope. Because, quote, education is not preparation for life, education is life itself. Dewey, 1897. At the time he wrote this, people like me and many of us were not on stages like this. We did not embark on institutional journeys like this. And at the time of his remarks, our histories were untold narratives. Our truth. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. A narrative, exposition. A piece of myself, a carried story. I am from tumultuous scenes, born in a desert of oil and constructed fear. I stand on stolen lands with these roots from conquered nations, and yet veins are pumping resilience and love. From a deaf mother whose warm actions speak the loudest, and from a father who taught me to smile, even when the shackles would take a toll. A loss of home, a conviction, yet none are paying the debt that the key keepers owe. A flight across a span of blue ambiguity, longing horizons and great opportunity. What they told us. We come from education as the great equalizer. To feel like tokens, quotas, a cog in the machine, to be denied a dream and yet continue to dream. To touch but not to feel, to live but not to see glory. A single story, a dangerous story. A manifestation. We are from beyond a curriculum. Art and philosophy, music and autonomy, redefining spaces and having the bravery to reclaim our places. A community with passions transcending the confines of our conscious, and a family of blossoms with thorns that demand to be felt. We are connected by the pains of injustice, but grounded by our humility and love, our fierce intellect and open minds that reason out the need for the need. It's us who build these spaces, yet still there are obstacles to climb. Glass ceilings that have yet to be shattered and hunger that remains unsatisfied. To uncuff the chains that we've had so long, we were made to forget that they were there, of poverty and privilege, masking the universal language that is human kindness. At our core, we all hold stories, like shooting stars that leave a trail of which something new is born, changing how others see the world. There is so much yet we have to teach this world, and so much that the world can teach us. So don't forget to reach back as we all move forward together. Be humble, let our stories ground us, and more importantly, every person here today is someone who's become a part of our story, who worked to build. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for the people that have helped us pave our paths. To our GPP Education Director, Alice Agabino, and our Student Programs Director, Chetan Chowdhury, who worked to build something that will never cease to leave its mark on our volatile world. To our professors, Professor Kadir, Professor Rock, Professor Talwalkar, who continue to push us to live powerfully, connect people, and inspire people. Who remind us that we don't own the path, we just own the work that we do. And who teach us to embrace the complexity and truth and listen to those truly affected. To our advisors and other mentors who continue to teach us self-love and to listen to those who love us fiercely. To our parents whose stories who have blazed a trail for us all and who have worked hard to get us all to this point. And lastly, to you GPP graduates, whose stories will live on each person we've touched and those we will move. Our struggle to overcome not only a very difficult undergrad at Cal, but our authentic frustration at overcoming societal barriers, all of it matters. And there's still more to come. Nothing blooms all year. What makes sense for this season of your life? Who are the people that will nurture your heart? How will you build your own idea of success? Exhaustion is real, and we have to hold space for our own anger. But also joy, revitalization. Happiness is yours for the taking. And you're exactly where you need to be at this moment. Celebrate every hill, follow your excitements, and embrace who you are. Because getting to meet all of you and continuing to build community with all of you has helped me learn to embrace who I am and who I strive to be. So thank you for the strength of your hearts and the strength of our relationships. Thank you for showing me that the nature of change is in organizing and community and not the myth of heroism. Because we are that radical imagination, and we are that critical and difficult hope. And we have to choose to see the roots we put down and the gardens we grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abigail. It's my pleasure to introduce our next student speaker, Madison Yuki Muzar. Madison is receiving her bachelor's degree in molecular environmental biology with a concentration in environmental and human health. Now, I had the privilege of being Madison's supervisor in her role as a peer advisor for our program over the past year. There's a lot I can say, a lot of positive things I can say about her, but what really stuck out to me most, and one of the earliest things I remember noticing about Madison, is that she holds herself to a very high standard. And along with that, she also expects her peers to do the same. Those who know her well knows she speaks her mind. She pushes others to be responsible, to persist, and ultimately to be the best that they can be. And she never asks anyone to do something that she herself wouldn't do. This has shown up not only in her role in her minor, but in the other involvement she's had on campus, including most recently co-directing a 50-person dance team this past semester. Madison is interested in how environmental issues intersect with global poverty and is seeking a career focused on these issues. and I have no doubt that she will have a successful, promising career ahead, driven by a commitment to equity and justice. So please join me in welcoming Madison.
Hello. Thank you all for coming here today, and thank you to Abigail for that amazing speech. When I began to write this speech, I realized I could probably write a whole book about everything I've learned in GBP. So I decided I'm not even going to attempt to summarize all of it here. But I do want to take these couple of minutes to say the things that are important to say when everyone's gathered together in one place. And as Professor Kadir reminded us in our final class of GBP 196, realistically, this is likely the last time that will ever happen. After 2 years at Berkeley, I almost didn't give GBP a chance, since I had this fear that the department would do things wrong, that they wouldn't critically challenge any norms, and that they would talk about poverty in an oversimplified and insensitive way. But after only a few weeks in GBP 115, I was happy to be proven wrong, and I began to challenge my own ways of thinking in ways I've never considered challenging them before. Through the minor, my classmates and I saw the concepts we learned go from huge ideas of how poverty is perpetuated on the largest scales across centuries, to critically examining the organizations and sectors we personally worked in, and finally to narrowing in on ourselves. Then things started to get very personal very fast. Assumptions we once made about our own abilities to create change began to come into question, and the hope that we as individuals could make the world even just a little bit better started to feel like a grandiose idea. All of us came into this minor from quite different backgrounds, but we all came here because at the very least, we felt that there were some things that are deeply wrong with the world, and we wanted to seek to understand those things better. And that was one of the things I always loved about being in GBP. We could always count on each other to care. Even if there was so much to critique about the organizations we worked in, the people we once looked up to, and even ourselves, we knew that at the very least, we could rely on each other to work together to try to overcome these obstacles and not just give up on the world. So before we all part ways, I want to use this one last chance to remind us all of two main lessons we learned from going through this minor together. The first lesson, which I remember was one of the most striking realizations we came to, was that every representative of a movement, the example in class was Rosa Parks for the bus boycotts in the civil rights movement, was but one of many, many people that worked hard for years behind the scenes to make the changes we see possible. There's no individual that can be the hero that saves us all. At first glance, this seems like it would be a crushing idea for budding changemakers, but I remember when we all came to realize it, it actually brought us comfort. Bringing about change felt so much more possible when we understood that supporting one another was the key. The second, somewhat surprising but equally comforting idea we arrived upon, after all the complexities that we grappled with and nuances we dissected throughout our time in GBP, was the great importance of showing up. It sounds simple at first, but we soon realized that such a simple idea was much more demanding than it seemed. Especially now after 2 years of constant cancellations, something that seems so simple in words and in concept can sometimes be the most difficult. But how else could we show that we care and want to keep trying to make change if we can't even do the simple act of showing up for each other? So I hope we can all remember these important lessons after we take our photos and say our goodbyes this afternoon. Whether it's with our communities, our family, our friends, change begins when everyone shows up. Finally, on behalf of the students of the Global Poverty and Practice minor, I want to express our gratitude for the faculty and staff of the department, for the warmth with which they welcomed us into these spaces, for how they challenged us to challenge ourselves, and how they truly cared about us in a university where caring can sometimes be a rarity. To my fellow peer advisors, it was a pleasure to work with you all, and I'm really going to miss seeing you each week. Please keep in touch. And finally, to all my fellow GBP students, it's been so fun getting to know so many of you, and I truly hope we can stay in contact and continue to show up for each other far into the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you to both of our student speakers. One more round of applause for them. So we are now going to begin the portion of our ceremony where we recognize each of our graduates who are here with us today. You've heard from our speakers today both that showing up is so important and a concept that's touched upon a lot in our program. But our graduates know from their classes that we won't let them get away with just passively showing up. So even at their graduation, we're asking them to actively participate. So the GPP community is always a very tight-knit community. And as a way to celebrate that with this graduating class, we've asked them to each recognize one of their fellow graduates. They were all asked to submit a statement that we are calling their GPP inspiration. This is something that they're committed to, something that they learned from the program, something they hope for, or something that they'll miss. Each of them will read the name of a fellow graduate and their GPP inspiration statement as they come across the stage to receive their certificate. So graduates, our Blum Center staff will assist you in lining up. Once you line up, please hand your graduation statement card to the graduate behind you. They will read your statement as you come up to receive your certificate from Professor Agagino. And please make sure to pause with your certificate so that we can take a photo. We're asking not to do any handshakes, but just hold on to your scroll. All right, so our staff will begin to have you all line up while we get set up. And then once I let you know, we'll begin. Great, wonderful, wonderful. We'll begin with the graduate recognition.
Luisa Guz Fernanda Guzman Gomez. Guz says that the GPP minor serves as a catalyst for daring to transform lives. We start with reflecting our history, our actions, to critically analyze. A change with collaboration is empathy at the heart of our discernment. To involve all Earth stakeholders for the mutual benefit of living on Earth. Guz envisions greatness by daring to be human.
Isabel Young Marsh. Isabel is so grateful to all the students and faculty in this minor, despite the near impossible task of solving global inequalities. All the people in this minor have given her hope that she is not alone in this endeavor.
Hussefa Cameron Kawaja. From GPP's 115's Disaster Capitalism to GPP 196 op-eds, Hussefa has grown to value human welfare. GPP allowed him to explore himself, expand his horizons, reduce his analytical blind spots, and to find a family. Before GPP, Hussefa had one family, now he has two.
Cindy Wynn. Cindy is thankful for the GPP minor for the motivation to become more involved with alleviating food insecurity and poverty in her community. She hopes to utilize knowledge gained from GPP courses to implement positive changes and ensure that all families and individuals have access to their basic needs.
Abby Lodiana Sanko. Abby is a proud, queer, first-generation child of immigrant parents from a low-income household in Los Angeles County. Abby has been working their entire life to get themselves to a position where they can give back to their community and spoil the ones they love, because Abby owes this accomplishment all to their people, their support system.
Ria Manoharan.
Yeah, Ria!
GPP has taught Ria that the radical but not so radical ideas and hopes for our world are not out of our control, and she sees a glimpse of a beautiful future within the many teachers, peers, and thinkers that this minor had opened her up to. Ria says that her time at Cal wouldn't have been the same without GPP, and she knows this is just the beginning of her learning.
Amna Huck. From practice, experience, and reflection in her time in GPP, Amna has learned that positive change is something that comes with small and consistent actions with a commitment to social justice and impact. She knows that she is not alone in this endeavor and is excited to meet the future as it comes.
And a quick thank you to Amna for designing the graduate programs that we have here today.
Subaita Rahman. GPP has taught Subaita to look at everything with a more nuanced perspective and consider multiple perspectives in solving global issues. She will miss being surrounded by people who think outside of the box and are so passionate in what they do. Subaita will continue from Berkeley with the reminder that no action is too small.
Celine Werrett. Celine has learned that companies and organizations have a social contract to do good for the world, whether that means giving back to the community or operating corporate social responsibility initiatives. Upon graduating, she will keep a critical eye on these organizations to ensure they are having the positive impact that they strive for.
Karina Yasmin Al-Khatib. Karina will always remember the way she felt after leaving a GPP class. The feeling of being more aware of her surroundings, having a deeper understanding of the world, and feeling motivated to change flawed systems and structures. Karina felt uplifted rather than hopeless due to the engaging and collaborative nature of each class.
Andy Hunter Myers. GPP taught and continued to remind Andy of how important community is. Community of those who share your identity, guide you, and those you learn and work together with. GPP inspired Andy to see his work as unbelievably inspiring as well, because you are never working alone, not ever.
Alia Wilkinson Hyatt. Through GPP, Alia has said that she has learned the importance of self-reflection and consistent analysis in poverty alleviation work. Alia will always remember how much she was challenged in this major to question the norm and improve her way of thinking.
Vincent Uwe. Through his practice experience in GPP, Vincent is committed to developing an educational tutoring organization that has a central mission of supporting low-income students and their desires to go to college by giving them access to free, high-quality education that is tailored to their pace of learning.
Victoria Asain Peju. Victoria's GPP inspiration is a commitment to economic development and the reduction of poverty throughout Africa.
Emma Lauren Zico. GPP is a community that has kept Emma's spirits alive and gives her hope through everything. Emma has constantly inspired her was constantly inspired by her peers and looks up to every student here who has chosen to seek justice in all things they do.
Hannah Lee Heinrichs. Hannah is going to miss having the built-in space to critically think and talk about our world and how we would like to change it, but she also is looking forward to cultivating the friendship she has found here.
Rebecca Marin Jacobson. Rebecca says that beyond theory and academics, this minor emphasized the importance of showing up for your community, for each other, and for yourself. She knows that as the years pass, the community she has built here will continue to show up and support each other as we try to make our own positive differences.
Madison UK Luzar. For Madison, GPP broke her out of the STEM world and allowed her to realize how much she doesn't yet know about the way the world works. GPP completely shifted the trajectory of their life, and she is grateful that she was able to find the minor and meet so many amazing people through it.
Jericho Pep Reininger. Jericho helps bring forward the tenet and practice of reflection that forms the foundation of GPP. The minor set up an intentional way for thinking about the world, and as he continues to engage with difficult social issues, following this model of preparation, experience, and reflection will help him work with others in ways that are respectful and informed.
Abigail Espiritu Lomibao. Abigail says that just as Mandela worked to treat the heart, we are not alone in our actions. Every story is connected, and touching one world at a time can make a meaningful difference to our world. It starts with being present, being kind, and actively listening. Abigail is thankful for the moments of joy and the reminder for her to act in the world in a way that nurtures her heart.
Maddie Lipscomb. Above all, GPP impressed upon Maddie two things: to never stop reflecting and the importance of community. Maddie gives her thanks to everyone she has met through this minor for challenging and growing with her.
Amy Chu. Amy is really grateful for the community she has been able to build in the GPP minor, including the faculty and students that have become her friends. Amy hopes to work in a field that prioritizes community-led change.
Bradley Christopher O. Bradley hopes that all of us continue our lives with the same strength, commitment to learning, and passion for what we believe in. There will be hard times, difficult times, and impossible times in our future, but he has complete confidence that each one of us will stay resilient and endure.
Austin Penn. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Austin is thankful for all of those who have shaped their time in the GPP program. As we move forward in our lives, Austin hopes that we do not forget these friendships and close bonds that we have built together as we continue to fight for what we believe in.
Vivian Bowie. Vivian has taken away the following lessons from the minors. Stories stick, so we need to be storytellers and not fit into incorrect themes. We must construct counter-narratives. This future is not divided between now and then. The future consists of a succession of presents. We don't have to wait for the right cataclysmic moment to do grand actions. Show up now and every time. Movements need courage, trust, conviction, and time.
Diego Zeballos Valdizan. Diego says there are no small achievements in the field of poverty alleviation work. They are all significant victories. Don't stop sharing the fruits of your labor. Our narratives have the power to change the world. Why share a negative one? GPP has taught us that we must seize the opportunity to speak truth to power. We feel that we cannot, in good conscience, accept our GPP certificates from the child of a billionaire and a senator, especially when her stepmother refuses to take action on the climate crisis. We urge Ms. Bloom to use her position of power in support of the Green New Deal and PRO-ACT to empower the poor in America and around the world. Okay.
Let's go!
Yeah, let's go!
Savannah Maria Bauerfeind. In the words of Paulo Freire, we have come together to name our world in order to transform it. SAV hopes that each person here will spread their gift of their education to empower oppressed people to participate in their own liberation. Solidarity forever, for our union makes us strong.
Lana Rose Quo. Rosie will miss learning and navigating this university with some of the best and brightest students Cal has to offer. She will miss the frankness and empathy of her peers and professors, and ability to make mistakes, to grow, and to change as students, interrogating our own positionalities and powers in a space and community that grows together. She says, thank you, GPP.
Jenny Seyoung Kwan. Jenny will truly miss the intimate seminar-style classes where they could discuss with peers and friends about various ideas about poverty, ethics, labor, and anything related. When Jenny entered class, they were able to press pause on their hectic life to breathe and reflect. Jenny is grateful to have had this privilege.
Carissa Riss Valerie Myung. One skill Riss learned during the GPP curriculum was how to write and pitch an op-ed, which she utilized to land publishing 2 op-eds with Sway, a leading platform for the next generation of women. Riss will carry the lessons of a historical, systematic analysis in her community, health work, and organizing around ending gender-based violence.
Wendy Ayala Bernal. Wendy hopes to continue to grow and learn from her future experiences.
Cyan Serena Sespilla. Cyan wants to remind folks that global poverty includes local poverty. Supporting our local communities is a vital part of beginning to address poverty. Find your angle of response and keep going.
Michelle Chelsea Ho. Michelle says she will truly miss the collaborative spirit of GPP. She is grateful for the resources and tools that have allowed us to pursue our unique interests and passions. Years from now, Michelle remembered the immense dedication of Professor Talwalker, whose mentorship and guidance emboldened us to explore the fascinatingly complex field of poverty alleviation.
And lastly, we have Luca Espinoza. For Luca, GPP has been most enlightening because it's inspiring faculty team. They have taught him that poverty relief is not moved by success, but by hope. That there will always be people willing to help who won't have the resources to do so. It is therefore our duty, and of anyone who holds a better understanding, to provide the structure that those people can rely on the catalytic, positive, enduring change. Thank you.
I was wondering who was going to do the last one. I'm glad you came back.
Please give it up for the GPP class of 2022. I hope their inspirations have sparked other inspirations for those who are guests in attendance. It's now my pleasure to introduce our final speaker for today, our alumni speaker, Nadalyn Daniels. Nadalyn graduated in 2011 with a bachelor's in psychology and a minor in GPP. For the past 4 years, she has worked on campus here with the Path to Care Center and the Campus Clery Division, focused on interpersonal and sexual violence prevention and response. She also works part-time as a 911 medical responder for Alameda County and as an EMT instructor with the Bay Area Training Academy. She's held several previous jobs in disability advocacy, emergency management, reproductive justice, environmental justice, and foster care and child welfare. Also, Nadalyn is a very active musician, playing for different local groups here in the Bay Area, and notably with Maha Wham, who were nominated for a Grammy Award in 2019. She also composes and produces video game soundtracks for Sony. The gamers out there can ask her about that in more detail at the reception. Nadalyn has been a very active alumna and supporter of the program and a real friend of the minor since she graduated. And I'm really thrilled to introduce her here today as our prestigious alumni speaker. So please welcome Nadalyn.
Hey folks, thank you so much. That was a whirlwind, and I'm gonna have to keep this short because I know you all want to get to your champagne, so I'm gonna make this fast. But hello, 2022 GPP graduates, students, faculty, staff, friends, family, everybody involved in this. This is all your graduations. I need everyone here to know that. I want to say that my name is Nadalyn, and I am what they call a true, up-close, in-person, carbon fossil, dating back to prehistoric times, otherwise known as an alumni. Okay, but watch out, after today, graduates, you're all pretty much in my shoes. I'm a preview of your future, so welcome to the Dinosaur Club. It's not as bad as it seems. All right. All kidding aside, I have to share that the GPP minor was one of the most formative experiences for me as a student, as an activist, as a peer, and as a global citizen. I'm so inspired to see you all here because the world is at a period of time where it needs good, proactive, global citizens, perhaps more than ever. We live in a paradoxical time, celebrated for innovation, but recognized also tragically for regression, where we are racing to the moon while basic human rights have been compromised, denied, and even lost worldwide, where we have established digital currency to save our economy without ensuring equal digital or economic access to said savior, where the West keeps creating new hopes to believe in, while the rest suffer as a result of their pursuit. So what an incredible time to pursue such an international, interdisciplinary, meaningful minor as the world is in the thralls of a pandemic. Not ravaged by a virus, but ravaged by inequity, by poverty, and strategic resource deprivation as we respond to COVID-19. The majority of us here are likely on our third or fourth doses, while the global majority are in lotteries for simply their first. And to top it off, it is remarkable the amount of psychological, emotional, and physical obstacles you all have had to overcome to be here today. And it's even more impressive to witness you all here because, in spite of two of the most challenging